Hi, I'm Alan Carter. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of Cabral Gold. We have an advanced exploration project in Brazil called Cuiú Cuiú with a resource base that totals around about 1.2 million ounces indicated and inferred. We're currently doing a pre-feasibility study on the weathered material, which extends to 60 meters depth. We have an ongoing drill program. We expect to have the results of the pre-feasibility study in the second quarter of this year.
Fantastic. Good to see you again. Absolutely great to see you again, Alan. Look, the market is trying to work out how to play the gold game. You made a decision last year that you're going to get after these oxide blankets. There's some money to be had there. You've been putting out drill results. I mean, can you give us an update on what you're seeing?
Yeah, look, Matt, we put out a very nice press release today on some results that we've got from an area called Mashishi. Now, Mashishi isn't part of the existing resource base that I've just mentioned. We've just drilled 30 meters at 2.6 grams a ton from, it's pretty much at surface. It's in free digging material. It's in this Mashishi area. Now, Mashishi doesn't have any resources on it right now. We know there's a deposit there because we've traced it for 900 meters in the underlying granitic rock, but we've never really looked hard at the weathered material on top. Now, and these are some really excellent results. As I said, close to surface in free digging material. It won't require drilling or blasting, shouldn't require any crushing or grinding either. So, and it's very encouraging because Mashishi is just 500 meters away from the MG gold deposit, which is one of the first gold deposits that we're planning on mining.
Right. So I want to be really clear because I think there's an opportunity for people who've maybe perhaps got out of some of the gold stories over the past couple of years, and who could blame them, of saying this new model of yours, i.e. with Mashishi, MG, and Central, getting after these oxide blankets, you've been drilling them. And I appreciate Mashishi doesn't have a resource yet, but what's the plan here? Heap leach as a solution, all good stuff, but will you be able to get after this post the PFS? Can you go and raise money post the PFS to actually extricate this gold?
Look, Matt, I believe we will be able to do. Obviously, it's a very difficult market right now. Let's just sort of take a step back here and just remember where we are. So we are about 20 kilometers to the northwest of the Tocantinzinho deposit, which is under construction right now. It's about 75% complete. That's going to be quite a big mine. It's owned by G Mining. They raised $500 million last year, and that should come online in Q3. And as you know, I was one of the co-discoverers of that deposit quite a long time ago. So we're in a really good emerging region. Unlike TZ, however, Cuiú Cuiú has a whole host of targets and actually has several deposits, and it has a footprint historically that was 10 times larger than TZ or Tocantinzinho in terms of the historic placer production. So it's got this huge footprint. And the other very, very interesting thing here, which is pertinent to your question, is the gold deposits that we've identified so far all sit on hilltops. So these things have been weathering over millions and millions of years, and that has resulted in the production of a thick weathered profile, which is essentially mud. We call it saprolite, that's the technical term, but it's weathered material that is soft, free digging material, and it contains gold at least the same grade, if not higher, than the underlying hard rock material. So what we're envisaging here is a two-step approach to the development of Cuiú Cuiú. First step is to actually prove up the economic viability of this saprolite or mud material. We're permitted to process 1,000 tons of that material a day. We know it leaches extremely well. That's the reason that we're doing a pre-feasibility study on that material. And hopefully we'll be able to make a construction decision later this year. Once we're in production generating cash flow, of course, that should give us a significant amount of capital to go and drill off all these underlying gold deposits where most of the gold is in the underlying granitic material. And that should result in a much, much bigger project. But step by step, step one, let's get the PFS done on this weathered oxide material.
Right, because I think it's the case of the market is looking at you going, show me the money, Alan, show me the money. And I'm trying to understand the timing. So the PFS is done. You don't need to do any further studies. It's a relatively simple, I should say, free digging, heap leach program. Yeah. You're seeing grades of 1.1 up to the Central 16.3 grams per ton in terms of it was narrow vein, but nevertheless, it says there's potentially more surprises and upside for you there. It seems to be what's coming back. And obviously today's result, proves that.
Yeah. Look, there's some very good high-grade material in this weathered mud material. As I said today, we put out 30 meters at 2.6. We've got significantly higher grades than that. We've got a lot of low-grade material. Now, Matt, the cutoff grade for this mud material, so that's the grade at which the engineers, they always assign a cutoff grade when they do a resource estimate, and everything above that has a reasonable expectation that it will be mined, so and is economically viable. And commonly with open pit mines, it would be in the order of 0.4, 0.5 grams a ton. Everything below that would be waste. Everything above that would be ore. Underground mines, obviously, your cutoff grade is going to be a lot higher because the mining costs are a lot higher. This material that we have, our cutoff grade is 0.13 grams a ton. Very, very low. And I said in my note this morning to our investors, there's a massive difference between 2-gram material at surface in mud with a very, very low strip ratio that is basically free digging, and 2-gram material in hard rock, which is, say, 200-300 meters below surface. It's a massive difference in the value proposition of mining that kind of material.
No, I get it. I understand it. In fact, this conversation is, for me, stopped being about, going through an economic study phase. It stopped becoming about the ability to raise, tens of millions of dollars to, get after this. This is simple process, and I don't mean to be, dismissive here, but it really comes down to how quickly can you move. How quickly can you show near-term revenue and give the market a sense of how much money you're going to need to raise, and the cost of that money, the type of money that kind of small capex and opex is going to be required, and that's what we're looking for. So we're not far away, it feels like.
No, I think we're planning on having the results of the PFS in Q2, and that, just to be clear here. If those results are positive, we'll make a construction decision based on the results of the PFS. So Q3, assuming, of course, that we've got the financing in place. Now, this isn't going to require hundreds of millions of dollars. This is going to be way less than that, based on similar sort of size operations. I can't actually give you a number. We don't have the final numbers from the PFS, but it will be a reasonable amount of money. We think is eminently achievable given our market cap, and even under these current market conditions. Obviously, there are several different ways of raising that kind of money. Obviously, the equity route, which most companies that are not that are explorers that don't have cash flow generally issue shares, as you know, through private placements, et cetera, et cetera. That's not something that we want to do. We're looking at other types of financing arrangements, and we've got a whole bunch of discussions going on. So it's a very exciting year for us. I mean, it's going to be transformative. We believe for some time that the key route to creating value for our shareholders is to get into cash flow and start producing gold from this weathered material as fast as we can. We have no doubt in our own minds that we have a world-class district here. But exploring it and proving out all these deposits, requires money. And it's not plausible or viable to depend on raising money from the market when the market is up and down, and more often than not, sentiment is negative. So we want to be in control of our own destiny, have our own cash flow, which will allow us, we believe, to prove up, a much larger district.
Yeah, I was just looking at my, someone sent me a chart. I think it's been floating around all the week in terms of the Canadian mining specialist funds. In 2010, $16 billion invested. Today, $2.8 billion. So the money has left the sector over the last 12 years. And I'm wondering, when do you expect them to come back in, and why should they come back in when we've seen a lot of value destruction across the sector over that time frame, and a very strange market for gold? It seems hard to read.
Yeah, look, Matt, I don't have a crystal ball. If I knew when the market when market sentiment would change, I mean, I probably wouldn't be here talking to you, to be perfectly honest. What I can tell you is it will change. Based on my career, I've seen 6 or 7 of these cycles now Obviously, this has been a prolonged period of negative sentiment with some very short periods of positive market sentiment. It's been very tough. Everything is on fire sale right now. There are some very good companies that are trading at historic lows. I think our valuation in terms of ounces in the ground is probably about in the order of about $25 an ounce in the ground. So I think there's a real opportunity. This is the time when really investors need to be looking hard for value, because there are lots of very, very good companies that represent excellent value propositions. But it does seem a bit lonely right now, and obviously a lot of folks are not particularly flush. So I think there's two things. You have to have patience when you invest in the junior market sector. I was listening to Rick Rule speak a couple of years ago, and he said his average time frame for his investments in junior mining companies was 7 years. I think that would come as a surprise to most people. Most retail investors are looking for a return in 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, maybe 18 months. But people who in our sector, a lot of people like Rick Rule, they hold their stocks a lot longer. But you've got to just believe in that and remember that the reasons why you bought a particular company. But I think in Cabral's case, we already have 1.2 million ounces on the board right now. As I said, we're right next door to this massive new gold mine, which will shortly be the third largest gold mine in Brazil. We've got a district scale opportunity here, and we're doing a PFS that is pushing us down a route, and we're pushing ourselves down a route to near-term production. Yeah,
and I think folks could do some simple math there in terms of the resource you got now. I think there are more drill results to come through, and presumably with the PFS, will you be including more of this drilling? Will there be a new resource coming out for the PFS?
I hope so, Matt. We'll see. We've got some more results that will coming along. Obviously, we're analysing it very carefully. Our focus has been on the oxide type of material. It's certainly going to have an impact. These drill results at Mashishi and some of the results that we've had from MG in particular and Central are definitely going to have a very positive impact. But we'll have to wait and see. Mashishi is definitely an exciting area. It's just so close to MG, just being 500 meters away. It's not 10 kilometers away from the one of the initial areas we want to mine. This is 500 meters away. It's extremely close. So I think in our case, investors should expect quite a lot of news between now and the second quarter, probably towards the end of the second quarter. We anticipate right now having the results of the PFS done. So, as I said, it's an exciting time for us.
It is indeed. Well, Alan, I appreciate the update. It's a busy, thriving market in terms of people looking at the business plans and business model, trying to work out how to, stay in the game, be in the game, and actually be relevant. So, I think yours is one that people should maybe be looking at in 2024. So, stay in touch, okay?
Thanks, Matt.